Have you ever believed that a healthy breakfast could quietly push your loved one toward a stroke while they're still asleep? Picture a peaceful morning. You're sitting, reading a book to your grandchild, a glass of orange juice by your side, still cold to the touch. Everything seems perfect, just like the advice we always hear. Eat a full breakfast, drink fruit juice, avoid animal fat. And yet, just minutes later, your arm suddenly goes limp, your voice disappears, and your eyes glaze over in panic. That's a stroke. And the scariest part, it doesn't always come from living recklessly. Sometimes, it comes from trying too hard to do everything right. As a doctor specializing in neurology and cardiology, I've seen this far too often. My patients were cautious, exercised regularly, ate mindfully, even took their medications on time. Yet they were hit by stroke out of nowhere. And when we traced it back, the cause wasn't one big mistake, but tiny, everyday habits. Like a microwaved pancake, a glass of 100% pure fruit juice, or a tub of low-fat yogurt. The problem isn't the food itself. The problem lies in how the body changes after 60. Blood thickens more easily. Blood vessels weaken, hormones shift, and nighttime blood pressure can suddenly drop. So when you eat something that seems healthy, but actually spikes your blood sugar or inflames your arteries, your body just can't handle it the way it used to. The result? A peaceful morning turns into a frantic ride in an ambulance, and people are left wondering, why me? I didn't do anything wrong. But the truth is, you just didn't know that certain healthy foods, no matter how popular or how well advertised, can quietly block blood flow to your brain. That's why today, I want to revisit your usual breakfast with you. We'll uncover 9 foods that silently attack the blood vessels of adults over 60 every single morning. And at the end of this video, I'll also share 3 powerful foods I always recommend to my senior patients' foods that protect the brain, boost memory, and help prevent strokes before they happen. I get it. There's nothing cozier than a sunny morning, a warm cup of tea, and a buttery pancake sitting gently on your plate. It feels like the taste of childhood, pure comfort. But after 60, that pancake, especially if it's part of your regular weekly routine, might quietly become a bridge, leading clots straight to your brain. Pancakes and waffles, especially the frozen kind or store-bought premixes, aren't just breakfast treats. They're a combo of refined flour, added sugars, industrial oils, and sometimes even trans fats. A dangerous type of fat, banned in many countries due to its link to blood vessel inflammation and higher LDL cholesterol. When you eat something like this in the morning, your blood sugar spikes fast. Your insulin rushes in to respond. Then it crashes. Over and over, day after day, this roller coaster takes a toll. The tiny, delicate vessels in your brain start to harden like rusty old pipes ready to crack. So what's the real danger? It doesn't show symptoms right away. No pounding heart, no headache. But inside, your blood starts to slow. It thickens. And sometimes, all it takes is one tiny clot, and oxygen can't reach your brain in time. I once had a 67-year-old patient. He walked every morning, never smoked, but had a habit of eating frozen pancakes daily because it was simple and low-fat. 3 years later, he was hospitalized with a minor stroke. He recovered, thankfully, but his memory and speech never came back fully. If you're asking whether you should cut pancakes out entirely, my answer is no need to go extreme. But if you're eating them 3 to 4 times a week, especially the processed kind, it might be time to reconsider. Try making your own pancakes at home with oat flour and ripe banana, no added sugar, and pan-fried with no oil on a non-stick surface. Or better yet, switch to a breakfast that's rich in protein and fiber, the kind that helps keep your blood sugar stable and your blood vessels strong. Because sometimes what we think is harmless is the very thing that's silently wearing down our heart and brain. And just one small change to your morning could be the first step to staying out of the hospital all year. There's something I've noticed over my years as a doctor. The moment a food is labeled heart healthy or high in fiber is the moment many of my patients let their guard down. Muffins, especially the ones from supermarket shelves or your morning coffee counter, are a perfect example. Blueberry muffins, bran muffins, banana nut muffins, they sound healthy. There's fruit, there's whole grain. But in reality, many of these muffins have more sugar than a glazed donut. And if you're eating them several times a week, they're not just an occasional snack anymore. They're a regular habit. One your blood vessels are quietly paying the price for. The reason is simple. Industrial muffins are usually made with white flour, sugar, and hydrogenated fats, the triple threat that inflames arteries, spikes blood pressure, and raises your bad cholesterol, LDL. The sugar thickens your blood. The hidden salt, which most people never think about in baked goods, stretches your arteries. And when eaten first thing in the morning, while your body is still resetting blood pressure after sleep, the impact is even stronger. I once treated a 70-year-old woman, never smoked, never touched fried foods or alcohol, but she loved store-bought muffins, just a small one in the morning with coffee. It keeps me full till noon, she said. Sadly, during a routine checkup, her blood pressure had quietly shot up, and she had no idea. Not long after, she had a mini-stroke, TIA. While cooking, her right hand went numb. Her mouth drooped slightly. After she recovered, the very first thing she gave up was the morning muffin. So, if you enjoy muffins, I'm not here to tell you to quit forever. But choose homemade versions made with whole grain flour, very little sugar, and just a pinch of salt. Or better yet, save them for weekend treats, not the foundation of your weekday breakfast routine. Because your health isn't defined by one muffin, it's shaped by how often you reach for it in a month. And after 60, every small choice brings you one step closer or further from lasting clarity and independence. I get it, the smell of bacon sizzling in a pan, the crackling fat, that savory aroma filling the kitchen, it's irresistible. For many older adults, bacon is a non-negotiable part of the traditional American breakfast. Simple, quick, flavorful. But precisely because it's so familiar, so hard to give up, many people don't realize that bacon is one of the most dangerous threats to the blood vessels of those over 60. The issue isn't just the visible fat. It's also what's hidden in every slice. Preservatives like nitrates and nitrites, salt, saturated fat, and even trace toxins left over from processing. When you eat bacon in the morning, the saturated fat spikes your LDL bad cholesterol, which starts sticking to your artery walls like glue. The nitrites used to give bacon that signature pink color have been shown to trigger inflammation in the blood vessel lining, making the protective layers thinner and more fragile. Add to that the high sodium content and your blood pressure can shoot up fast, especially in the morning, when your vessels haven't fully woken up after the night's rest. One of my patients, Mr. Robert, 72, still remembers that fateful morning. His breakfast was like any other: 2 slices of bacon, 1 egg, and a cup of coffee. By 9:30, while trimming plants in his yard, he suddenly collapsed, unable to move his left leg. He thought it was a cramp, but it turned out to be a mini-stroke. He had no idea that the bacon he'd been eating every morning was silently building up into a storm inside his arteries, until one day it exploded. If you're eating bacon every day, it's time to step back. Limit it to once or twice a month. Even better, swap it for shredded boiled chicken, hard-boiled eggs, or lightly seared salmon protein-packed choices that don't force your blood vessels to go into overdrive. Because after 60, whatever you do daily becomes your body's new reality. Let your arteries rest and give your brain a few more years of clarity. Many of my patients, when describing their usual breakfast, say this part with confidence. "Don't worry, doctor. I've cut out butter. I only eat low-fat fruit yogurt." And I get it. They believe it's a smart choice. Cool, light on the stomach, and supposedly good for digestion. But the truth is, most packaged fruit yogurts on the market are sugar traps in disguise. Just one small container can load your body with 20 to 25 grams of sugar, about the same as a candy bar. That fruity taste, it's rarely from real mashed fruit. It's usually fruit syrup or artificial flavor blended with sugar. And your body, especially after 60, can't process sugar as efficiently as it used to. When you eat sweetened yogurt in the morning, your blood sugar spikes fast, then crashes, leaving you dizzy, drained, and foggy-headed. Meanwhile, the fragile endothelial lining of your blood vessels, already weakened with age, is constantly stressed by the roller coaster of insulin surges. Chronic inflammation sets in. Arteries begin to lose elasticity, and that's the beginning of a domino effect that can lead to a stroke. On top of that, many flavored yogurts use artificial sweeteners like aspartame or sucralose, which may be calorie-free, but they mess with your gut microbiome, trigger insulin resistance, and negatively affect blood pressure control. If you've been having fruit-flavored yogurt every morning and find yourself often sleepy, spacey, or struggling to focus, it might not be aging. You might just be reacting to sugar. Instead, switch to plain Greek yogurt. Add your own toppings, some blueberries, a few crushed walnuts, and a small drizzle of honey, if needed. Eat it mid-morning or after a meal, not on an empty stomach, to avoid sudden blood sugar spikes. Because sometimes the thing that feels the safest is the one you most need to rethink. And choosing the right yogurt might be the simplest way to protect both your memory and your blood vessels, just one spoonful at a time. This might just be the most classic breakfast for many people. 2 slices of white toast, lightly spread with butter, paired with hot tea or black coffee. No frying, no fatty meat, not much sugar. Sounds harmless, even quite light and clean. But for those over 60, this simplicity can become a silent trap for the blood vessels and brain, especially if it shows up every single morning. The problem lies in the nature of white bread. It's made from refined wheat flour, meaning the bran and germ, where most of the fiber and B vitamins live, have been stripped away. As a result, you're eating a smooth, white starch that quickly converts into sugar in the blood, basically like eating a spoonful of sugar. After eating it, blood sugar spikes, insulin is released, then blood sugar crashes, and you end up feeling hungry again, tired, shaky, or craving something sweet. Repeat this process daily, and your blood vessels already weakened by age will gradually be worn down by the constant blood sugar swings. At that point, stroke doesn't feel so far away anymore. And what about that layer of butter on top? Many people think butter is just a minor topping, nothing to worry about. But most commercial butters are high in saturated fat, which is known to raise LDL, bad cholesterol, and promote plaque buildup inside your arteries. Over time, that plaque can break off and become floating debris in your bloodstream, just waiting for the chance to block blood flow to your brain. I once met an elderly lady, very disciplined, didn't touch sweets, ate on schedule, and was very health conscious. But she kept the habit of eating white toast with butter every morning for nearly 15 years. She saw no problem until a mild stroke hit, and she lost the ability to write for an entire month. The solution isn't to ditch toast entirely, but to switch to whole grain bread, spread with avocado or unsweetened nut butter, or pair it with a boiled egg and some steamed veggies. And if you still want dairy butter, choose grass-fed versions. Use it sparingly, no more than 2 to 3 times per week. Because after 60, long-term health doesn't come from grand meals, it comes from small, everyday habits. And simply switching the bread you eat tomorrow morning might just help your blood vessels breathe a little easier. I get it. Modern life is busy, especially for seniors who still care for grandkids, work part-time, or simply don't want to cook in the morning. So, swinging by a breakfast joint for a quick sandwich and coffee has become a convenient habit for many older adults. Quick, hot, easy to eat, and also easy to leave lasting damage. Here's the issue. A fast food breakfast sandwich isn't just a meal. It's a hazardous combo for your blood vessels. Inside, you'll often find soft white bread, fried sausage or bacon, eggs cooked in oil, a slice of processed cheese, and sometimes even artificial butter. Sounds like just a hearty breakfast, but the reality is, the salt in one of these sandwiches can equal your entire daily recommended intake. Saturated fat and trans fat slowly clog your arteries over time. Add in the refined carbs from white bread, and your blood sugar spikes and crashes fast. I once met a 68-year-old man who still drove every morning and liked to swing by McDonald's for fun. He'd say, "It's just a sandwich and coffee." But during checkups, his morning blood pressure was consistently elevated. 3 years later, he had a mild stroke while heading to do yard work, and since then, he's had to walk with a cane. No smoking, no drinking, just 2-3 breakfast sandwiches a week. If you're grabbing fast food breakfast once or twice a week, pause and rethink. You don't need to be extreme, but when possible, prepare a simple breakfast at home. A boiled egg, a few avocado slices, and whole grain toast. And if you must eat out, choose baked eggs, skip the bread and cheese, and go light on the processed meats. Because every sandwich isn't just fuel, it's a decision that affects the elasticity of your blood vessels that day. And after 60, your arteries can't take the hit like they used to. Granola. It just sounds healthy. Oats, nuts, honey, dried fruit. Many older adults choose granola or granola bars as part of their clean eating routine. It's convenient, tasty, and seems like a good energy boost. I used to think so too until I started reading the ingredient labels more carefully and reviewing the blood work of patients who had eaten granola daily for 2 years. The truth is, most store-bought granola today isn't the healthy food it appears to be. They often contain high amounts of sugar and processed vegetable oils, so much so that a small bowl of granola can have as much sugar as 2 donuts. Worse, many granola bars, the packaged on-the-go kind, are loaded with sweeteners, corn syrup, preservatives, and excessive omega-6 oils. You might ask, isn't omega-6 an essential fat? Yes, but when omega-6 intake far outweighs omega-3, as is often the case with commercial granola, the body shifts into a state of chronic low-grade inflammation. And it's this inflammation that wears down your blood vessels, damages the endothelium, makes cholesterol stickier, thickens the blood, and increases the risk of stroke. I once treated Elaine, a 64-year-old who practiced yoga regularly, ate a semi-vegetarian diet, and had a morning habit of eating a low-fat, high-fiber granola bar. Her lab results: high triglycerides, elevated CRP, a marker of vascular inflammation, and unstable blood pressure readings. After switching her breakfast, cutting out the packaged granola, adding more veggies and plant-based protein, her numbers started to improve noticeably within just 2 months. If you love granola, try making it at home. Lightly roasted oats with unsalted seeds, a touch of raw honey, and unsweetened dried fruit. Eat small portions and pair it with protein or healthy fats to avoid blood sugar spikes. And remember, don't treat it as your main breakfast. Use it as a small side or a mid-morning snack, because after 60, even the foods you think are healthy, if used the wrong way, can slowly chip away at your well-being. Just by changing how you use it, you can turn granola from a silent saboteur into a trusted ally. There's a familiar image in many American-style breakfasts: a cold glass of orange juice sitting next to toast or a bowl of cereal. Many of my patients have told me, "Doctor, I don't drink soda or sugary coffee. I only drink 100% pure orange juice, the best kind." And that is exactly what worries me most. Because orange juice, especially the pre-squeezed, bottled or boxed kind, isn't nearly as healthy as we think. It's a sweet little glass that hides more than it reveals. Let's start with the basics. When you drink orange juice, you're consuming all the sugar from the fruit, without any of the fiber. No fiber. Sugar gets absorbed rapidly. Blood sugar spikes. Insulin surges to bring it down. And for someone over 60, whose metabolism is already slower, these spikes and crashes strain the blood vessels, damage them, and gradually weaken their integrity. On top of that, fructose, the main sugar in fruit juice, is metabolized in the liver. Drink it frequently. Liver converts it into fat. Triglycerides rise. Plaque builds up in the arteries. And once the arteries in the brain start to narrow, even a small piece of dislodged plaque can trigger a stroke at any time. I once treated Gary. Age 66, he lived a very clean lifestyle. No smoking, no alcohol, no fried foods. But every morning, he drank a large glass of orange juice, 100% pure, with a bit of toast. After a long spell of unexplained fatigue, tests revealed mild fatty liver and high triglycerides, despite his slim build and generally balanced diet. And the culprit? None other than that trusted glass of orange juice he'd been drinking for 15 years. If you still want to enjoy orange juice, drink a small amount, under 100 ml, and only after a full meal, never on an empty stomach. Better yet, eat the whole orange with the pulp and fiber intact. And as for boxed juices, even those labeled 100% natural, know this: nothing is truly natural once a fruit has been squeezed, filtered, pasteurized, and bottled for 6 months. Because after age 60, sometimes the most dangerous things are the ones labeled healthy that lull us into a false sense of security. That one glass of juice each morning, meant to energize you, might quietly be shortening the life of your brain's blood vessels. You've probably seen it. Cereal boxes covered with bold promises, whole grain, fortified with vitamins, heart healthy. Many older adults choose cereal thinking it's better than pastries, easier than cooking, and gentle on digestion. But if you're starting your day with a bowl of cereal and milk, give me a moment to share this warning. Most instant breakfast cereals on the market are ultra-processed foods and far from truly healthy. They often contain refined sugars, more than a cookie, simple carbs, white flour, or heavily processed grains, additives, artificial colors, flavorings, and hidden sodium. And what happens when you eat them on an empty stomach in the morning? Your blood sugar spikes, insulin surges, then crashes quickly. You feel tired, sleepy, and start craving sweets again. Repeat this cycle daily, and your blood vessels are constantly being stretched and mildly inflamed, leading to endothelial damage, higher risk of clot formation, and eventually opening the door to stroke. I once treated Marlene. Age 70, she cared deeply about nutrition. Every morning she chose a cholesterol-lowering cereal, thinking she was doing the right thing. But after 6 months, her tests revealed high fasting blood sugar, unstable morning blood pressure, and triglyceride levels above the safe range. After switching her breakfast to boiled eggs, steamed vegetables, and low-sugar fresh fruit, her blood pressure stabilized again. If you still enjoy cereal, choose minimally processed ones with little or no added sugar, made from true whole grains and without artificial flavors. And don't treat it as your only breakfast. Pair it with protein and healthy fats to help keep blood sugar steady. Because not everything that's convenient comes in a pretty box and claims to be heart healthy, is truly good for your aging blood vessels, and sometimes simply replacing a pour-from-the-box breakfast with a real one can add years of health to your brain. If there's one fruit that deserves a regular spot on the breakfast table for anyone over 60, it's blueberries. I call them nature's anti-inflammatory pills disguised as berries. Inside each tiny blueberry are hundreds of powerful antioxidants, especially anthocyanins, compounds scientifically shown to reduce inflammation, improve endothelial, blood vessel lining, function, and help blood flow more easily. A 2013 study published in Circulation revealed people who regularly ate blueberries and strawberries had up to a 32% lower risk of stroke compared to those who rarely ate them. Why? Because anthocyanins help protect blood vessel walls from damage caused by sugar, high blood pressure, and bad cholesterol, the big 3 enemies of aging adults. If you often feel tired in the morning, a little dizzy, or have a history of high blood pressure, blueberries might just be your tiny but powerful ally. How to use them? Fresh or frozen, both are great. Add to plain Greek yogurt, mix with overnight oats, or enjoy them solo as a dessert. Because sometimes what clears your mind in the morning isn't a cup of coffee, but a handful of deep purple berries. Tip douce, avocado, smooth like butter. strong like a blood vessel booster. Many people shy away from avocados, thinking fat clogs arteries. But the truth is, avocados are rich in monounsaturated fats, the kind that lowers LDL, bad cholesterol, and raises HDL, good cholesterol. And that's especially important for seniors. High HDL, easier clearing of plaque from arteries. Low LDL, more flexible vessels, smoother blood flow. Result, a significantly reduced risk of stroke. Avocados are also high in potassium, a mineral that balances sodium in the blood. Too much sodium, high blood pressure. Enough potassium, stable BP, less strain on the heart and brain. A 2015 meta-analysis published in BMJ found people who consumed more potassium-rich foods had a significantly lower stroke risk, especially in older adults, for those over 60. How to use it. Mash avocado with boiled eggs, spread it on whole grain toast, blend it into a smoothie with nut milk, or toss it into a salad. Just half an avocado each morning is enough. You don't need more. Because sometimes something as soft as cream holds the power to fight the hardest thing in your body. Arterial plaque. Tip 3. Walnuts. Brain food in both shape and function. Have you ever noticed how a walnut looks just like a tiny brain? That's no coincidence, because walnuts are truly one of the best nuts for both brain health and blood vessels. They're rich in plant-based omega-3s, ALA, a type of fat that helps reduce inflammation, prevent platelet clumping, stabilize blood pressure, and protect the endothelial lining of your arteries. Walnuts also provide magnesium, a crucial mineral for maintaining flexible blood vessels and preventing brain vessel spasms. A 2019 study published in Nutrients found people who ate 1 toss and 2 small handfuls of walnuts daily showed clear improvements in brain blood vessel function, reducing the risk of clots and stroke. How to use. Eat them raw, lightly roasted, add to oatmeal, sprinkle on yogurt, or toss into salads. No need to overdo it. Just 5-7 walnuts each morning is enough to create a positive effect. Because sometimes what helps keep you sharp isn't a prescription, but simply eating the right nut. Every 40 seconds, a senior in America is hospitalized for a stroke. And what breaks my heart the most isn't that they didn't try to live healthy lives. It's that they didn't know the very things they thought were healthy were quietly harming them. A pancake, a glass of orange juice, a fruit-flavored yogurt cup. Each one on its own doesn't seem dangerous. But when they become habits repeated day after day for years, they slowly shape the fate of your blood vessels. The good news is, you don't have to change everything overnight. Just start with one breakfast. Choose blueberries over a granola bar. Choose avocado instead of salty butter on white toast. Choose a few walnuts instead of that sweet but empty glass of juice. Because after 60, waking up clear-headed, walking steadily, and speaking confidently is no longer something to take for granted. It's the result of hundreds of small choices, and you can begin making one tomorrow morning. A heartfelt note. Soft CTA. Which of the 9 harmful breakfast habits we talked about today are you still holding on to? Have you tried switching to a brain-healthy morning? Blueberries, avocado, or walnuts? Share your story in the comments. Your experience might just help someone else avoid a stroke. And if you found this video helpful, please share it with someone you care about. Because sometimes one small change in the morning can protect a lifetime.